What made the popular kid at school the unpopular kid? When school started, she was so popular she could hang out with anyone in any kind of friend group. She was that beautiful, social, athletic blonde girl. Then, she began hanging out with me, the 16 years old handicapped girl walking slowly with a wooden cane like an old woman. She instantly got unpopular, but still decided to stick around, and we made our own group of friends. 10 years later, she's a popular jeweler in my old town, and still as beautiful, funny and kind as ever. So nice to see a positive story. My partner likes to tell the story of how she became the unpopular kid at school. She was about 6/7, so primary 2 here in the UK, and a trend kicked off in her class of eating dog biscuits. All the kids were stealing dog biscuits from home and eating them at break time. Unfortunately, she didn't have a dog, and just had to eat normal human biscuits at school. She was ostracized every break time for it. Peer pressure is weird sometimes. A friend told me that in grade 1 or 2, there was this trend of collecting chestnuts, which are basically everywhere in the fall where I live, and trading them. It became a real market, and when the season passed, chestnuts became rarer and thus more valuable. Some kids traded some of their parents' jewelry and stuff for it. So yeah, only thing dumber than a 6/7-year is a whole school of them. One of the kids at our school lived with his grandma cause his parents died. Dickhead and a group of his mates started harassing the old lady whenever she came to pick him up. Principal was reported this and they ended up getting expelled altogether. Justice. She made fun of a girl with cancer. Made a joke like, "Why don't you ask your mom to buy your wig? I can see your scalp." And overnight, she was the least liked person in school, and 100% deserved it. He recorded himself shoving carrots, cucumbers, and a bottle of hot sauce up his butt in the back of a van. Then someone found the video and shared it with the whole school. The van makes this exponentially worse. His girlfriend dumped him and moved away to a private school, so he started sending videos of him jacking off to the other popular girls in school. A popular guy in my year peed himself during an exam in our gym hall. Unfortunately for him, the biggest butthole in our year was sitting directly behind him. He immediately stood up and yelled pee-pee himself. He proceeded to get teary-eyed and say, "It's my energy drink." It spilled over and over before the exam supervisor literally dragged him out of the hall. 2 weeks later he returned to school the unpopular kid and kept a low profile for a while until it eventually died down and he climbed the social ranks once more. That is until an episode of The In-Betweeners, a popular TV show in the UK, aired in which one of the main characters shoots himself in the exam hall, and it reminded everyone of what happened, effectively nuking his popularity all over again. The In-Betweeners is surprisingly accurate of schooling in the UK, specifically the main character's perception of the world. I could relate to it a lot. Having a set of keys given to him by the school. WTF. I know, because he was one of the really popular kids, then using those keys to break into the school and steal $30 cord of woodworking metalworking tools. To be fair, the school got what was coming by giving keys to a student. There was one kid in my class who was the son of our maths teacher. He was crazy popular because he was able to help everyone out with their homework for that class. Turns out he was actually snooping through his dad's notes to get the answers. The teacher naturally got super suspicious after a while, so he deliberately made a fake answer sheet. Of course, the kid grabbed it and noted it all down. It was full of wrong answers, so blatant that anyone who even slightly paid attention in class would know they were way off base. The kid handed out the answers anyway, and in an instant made about half the class bomb, and his popularity dropped like a rock as they all accused him of deliberately making them fail. They moved him to another class and they never had an incident of cheating again. People found out he was killing animals in super fricked up ways. Held a dog underwater until it drowned. Ran over a cat with a lawnmower. Used baseball bats and machetes. Dude was doing some serial killer level stuff. Now he's in the army. Oh boy, do I feel protected. There's 3 reasons people join the army: honor, family thing, or just want to make something of themselves. They need the job and are basically guaranteed one. Or they want a license to kill. My father, a now retired vet, told me that when we were talking about some of the men he had served with over the years. It really put some things into perspective for me. When everyone found out he was jerking off to science teacher, in the class, along with his friends. This was 8th grade. He accidentally stabbed and blinded, in one eye, the nicest kid in the school by throwing a stick at him. The kid that was blinded grew up to be super successful and is now married, with a baby on the way. I feel pretty bad for both kids. If it was really an accident, it probably haunts him every day, especially if people treated it like it was purposeful. Guy wasn't necessarily the popular kid, but it wasn't a big school so everyone knew everyone. I think between 9th and 10th grade he was found alone in his car behind the local arcade beating off. He was called Thumper from that day forward. No idea what happened after graduation, but he has to have some bad memories of those years. He got into legal trouble because he and his team embezzled misused $250K from the student union. The university kicked him out, stopped paying the annual $2 million to the student union, withhold funds, although that was later overruled by the courts, and revoked the privileges granted to the student union. Earlier this year, they stated that they and students are no affiliation to the student union after 1 year of negotiations. His team was still running the student union because they were elected. They bought votes by offering pancakes, waffles and donuts for those who vote for their party and had street volunteers that would pressure students to vote for the party. It actually led to a law being passed in Ontario that prevented universities to force students to pay non-mandatory fees. The scandal was revealed by a student party called the Rhino Party back in December 2018. January and February, heads started rolling and law and accounting firms started getting involved to figure out how much was spent. It was rumored the figure was anywhere from 100k 900k. Ontario provincial lawmakers passed the law in the summer of 2018. Starting fall 2019, I had the choice whether I wanted to pay auxiliary fees to support the student newspaper, NGOs that operated in the school, support the student union, etc. That provincial law was recently overturned by the courts this year, so starting next fall, I am forced to pay fees associated with groups that I don't support. He went from being popular to being a school meme. There's actually a lot of bank statements available that showcase what they bought. Started straight up lying to teachers to get people in trouble. Don't know how he thought that was gonna work out. When he was caught taking upskirt photos of girls in school and sending them to his friends, his popularity went from hero to zero in a split second. He fricked his friend's mom at a party. Let's call popular kid A and his friend B. B's mom was arrested, as she should have been, and B faced torment from basically everyone that knew what happened. Kid A continued to brag about his actions. Eventually people gained sympathy for B and Kid A lost his popularity real fast. I stand by Kid A as one of Radiohead's best albums. This guy at my table would play the "no one likes me, I'm the center of attention now" card, as in he would fake sadness for attention, redirecting conversation and drawing the energy from a room. Like the kid who won't be friends with you anymore because you wore the same color shirt. He was quite wealthy too and would rub it in your face. I'm really curious as to how autocorrect gave you more instead of war. He teased my best friend for being built like a Mack truck. She picked him up and put him upside down in the garbage can. He lost any coolness he had. Power move. Throw a hockey stick, hollow ended, into the special needs kid's eye socket. He claimed it was accidentally only, but was caught bragging about it on his Snapchat story. He then said, his words not mine, he doesn't have any hope though, so what does it matter? The kid needed surgery that his parents had to pay for, as it was cosmetic. The kid moved to a cheaper schools a week later. He didn't exactly become unpopular, but my high school's star quarterback recorded a video of himself fingering his butt and he sent it to a girl in a neighboring school district. The video got passed around there and made its way back into our school and he got socially vibe checked. But he didn't really lose his popularity, it was just sort of lessened and he actually became a way better person after the fact. He still never learned that you can throw bullets when playing indoor football in gym class against non-football players though. Good crap. The best way to respond to your town seeing a video of you fingering your butt. Become a better person. Not exactly popular, more like the king of the buttholes. but he had a project in mind. Bully the newcomer to get some fresh fame for his but apostles. The target, a Greek exchange student, nice guy but quite a meaty boy, 150 plus kilos, and a wrestler. I watched. No freaking way I was getting in the middle of a bitch slap tornado, and my regret as of today is the lack of camera smartphones back then. Bully C got his jaw broken, and lost 5 frontal teeth, dislocated shoulder and 3 fractured ribs. Legally speaking, he only defended himself and also played his defense on his weight, blaming the bully of making him lose his balance and by doing so, fell on him. It's not entirely false. Bully C got back 2 months later, still suffering from his injuries, shunned by his previous peers, stayed about 2 weeks and then never came back. Don't underestimate martial arts. Even a small person could take down a giant with it. The extra weight definitely also added to the strength. There was an Asian girl who was well liked by everyone, smart, happy to help anyone struggling in class and was generally a nice person, but her uncle scammed a lot of people in her community, including parents of kids that went to our school. She went from being well liked to being bullied, still she dropped out of school. Frick that uncle. I stood up for the teacher with, at the time, terminal cancer when everyone was teasing bullying her. Cancer made her a bit more positive, live life to fullest and she was pretty childish. Actually great for elementary school children, but my class was 1 degree away from feral at the time. I was no longer popular. She was super nice and by some miracle beat the cancer. Respect man, you must have given her a reason to live and I'm sure you helped her survive. He punched the autistic kid, then proceeded to get jumped by every single guy that saw him in school for the next week until his parents had him switch schools. There's times bullying is acceptable. This is one of those times. Super freaked up, but this girl I went to grade school with was a victim of a house fire. She was pretty and popular with all the kids in 1st and 2nd grade. After the fire she was left with a lot of scarred tissue. In 3rd grade, all the kids turned on her and called her names, wouldn't sit next to her, or share things we needed in class. I actually got to know her better that year as she was my class Valentine. She was the same person as before, except broken. Apparently he fricked his cat, and that's how Rocky got the nickname Sparkles for the rest of his junior and senior year. There was a girl who was really popular and then she got pregnant and had an abortion, and one of her crappy friends told other people and then everyone called her ass and started rumors like saying she got the abortion because the dad could have been one of 10 different guys. It was awful. High school bullying in the 2000s was a mess. Jesus, most of these replies I'll laugh at the jerks that lose their credibility, but this is just horrific. That girl was not a friend. Got really into astrology, Gemini, Virgo, Cancer, kept on hitting, assaulting people with a metal bottle, and was in general just in butthole that only like 7 people tolerated. I follow her on Instagram and all her stories are memes about astrology. It's the Instagram equivalent of Facebook minion memes. Just assaulted multiple people with a metal bottle. I am such a Gemini. A mum got into an argument with a parish priest and forced her daughter to lie to the police about him molesting her when she was an altar girl, all over some memorial that the mother didn't agree with. The plan worked since the local archdiocese was forced to transfer him to another parish, but it was quickly proven the girl was being forced to lie by the police. The girl's reputation didn't take that much of a hit during school, but her mum became a social pariah across multiple parishes since the priest was a patron to the local high school and a lot of people respected him. The girl was seriously screwed. However, her parents wanted her to become a solicitor or barrister and I think they made her take law in A-level. But since the mum made her lie to the police, she is a documented liar, which bars her from enrolling into a legal course in the UK. When she made fun of me in front of everyone for wearing a yellow shirt to school. It was just a plain yellow shirt and she somehow found a way to mock the color. It was so unnecessary and made her look like someone who was just rude for no reason. Everyone quickly realized that she thought people were automatically on her side cause she was somewhat rich, and she just became a joke after that. Maybe she had some childhood trauma involving lemons. I went to an all-girls school and there was an all-boys school about 5 minutes walk away. When I was in my final year, the school vice captain of the boys school was dating one of our grade leaders. Both being 17 and not very smart, she eventually got pregnant. She dropped out, and pretty much everyone who knew him at our school hated him. Prior to that, he was very well liked. I thought it was a bit ridiculous, honestly. Pretty sure it takes two to tango. I mean, she didn't get pregnant on her own. I went to school from 4th grade to high school with a kid my age whose father was a prominent city official in our town. Even though we lived only a few blocks from one another, we were in different worlds. My background was much more blue collar, and unfortunately I lived in an alcoholic and physically violent household. For these and other reasons I never understood. His mother despised me and she wanted her son to have nothing to do with me. She actually called my mother once to suggest that she keep me away from her son. Since our class in life was so very different, I found him smart and funny and fascinating, and we pulled around. He wore slacks while I wore jeans, and his suede shoes were much better than my sneakers. By our high school years, he was a football letterman while I was a band geek. And he was in college prep while I took vocational courses. We still knew each other, but he was in a college track and I was living day by day. As graduation approached, we learned that his parents had worked with the local congressman for his appointment to West Point. Whoa. Tragically, the night of graduation, he and his girlfriend went out with him driving drunk on a country road. He hit an oak tree and she was killed. That's the last I ever heard of him. But once in a while I Google his name just to see if he might surface somewhere. I sometimes think of how mortified his status conscious mother must have felt, and wonderful about his girlfriend's family, and of course what happened to my friend who killed someone just before his life began. I wish him well over 40 years later. I'm just not sure what happens when life seems to be laid out before you with concrete expectations and it all goes so tragically wrong in the blink of an eye. To be fair, you have to have a recommendation from a congressman to even get into West Point. I hated this kid, but apparently the rest of the school loved him. He was freshman class president, and legit looked and acted like a politician even at 18. This is college. Then he got drunk and ran over 2 girls walking back from a party, and to ice the cake he stopped and called the cops himself, but then started fighting the EMTs when they arrived. Somehow he only did 2 years, and came back to school. His family had a lot of money, but we all knew by then how it went down. He was not well received when he returned to campus. I don't think he has a future in politics. Think he even ended up transferring schools because even the professors hated him when he came back. Reverse story. Unpopular kid. Computer nerd kind, but dang he was good at programming. Never had a date and was an outcast. End of his senior year, the class gives out awards. Most likely to succeed, like that. He wins the most likely to die a virgin award. He goes up, grabs the mic and says he would like to thank all the girls that made this possible. Instant legend. Virginity is cool. I was relatively popular. I was in JV basketball, marching band, mathletes, and track, and pretty much made friends with everyone until my best friend at the time claimed I pushed her down the stairs and caused her to have surgery on both legs. Thing is, I was at my grandmother's funeral in another state the entire week she claimed it happened. While the teachers kept us apart and understood my side, none of the others really believed me, except the anime club. They believed me. Go weebs. Only the anime club believes in top 10 anime betrayals in real life. She first got her reputation and then got terrible acne. Went from cute cheerleader girl to pariah. I felt sorry for her. Stopped coming to school. Didn't even do her exams in the end. Just sat at home and smoked weed all the time. Didn't even work. She just got boyfriends who would pay for everything for her. Became spiritual. Got the Hindu symbol OM tattooed on her finger. Got dreadlocks, etc. Posted weird photos on her Instagram. It's hard to explain, but she just sort of became weird. I once heard her talking to a bunch of 13-year-olds about how her boyfriend just got out of prison. ? She also always spoke about wanting to have a baby. This weed smoking, non-working, 18-year-old girl wanted a child. In the end, nobody in my school even spoke to her anymore. Even her friends didn't like her much because she was sort of a B. She was popular because she was super pretty and smart. It's sad. She obviously has no direction in her life. Her only qualifications are the exams we did when we were 15. Her brother and sister were still in the school. They were really nice and basically the opposites to her. I hope they do well. He walked into the bathroom and realized someone was whacking it in the stalls. Dumbass gets the brilliant idea to record it because he thought it was funny. He's under house arrest now and has CP distro charges. Frick him. She was popular. Then she found Jesus. Almost instantly unpopular. Then she became immensely popular again when she was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. High school is a B. Why did Jesus make her unpopular, Mayo? When I was in primary school, a popular kid thought it would be funny to flush the class pet, a hamster called Nibbles, down the toilet. All the kids thought the hamster would have died. He quickly became known as the kid who killed a hamster. He ended up changing schools for another reason. BTW, the hamster survived. I don't know how pipes work, but I heard the caretaker eventually found him. The school still gave Nibbles away after that. Made fun of the mute kid for being mute. Said that she was faking it and that it wasn't possible for her to be that way. He definitely didn't get away with that. One of the most popular girls in senior year slept with her best friends. Also popular girl. Boyfriend. Also popular guy. For a whole day. Girl 1 was ignored by everyone except one person. If the rumors were to be believed, girl 2 lifted G1 up by the neck in the girls' change room the morning, said some choice words to her, then ignored her completely for a week. Meanwhile, boy was in this super awkward position of, hey, I was super drunk and thought it was my GF, as it's where we'd organized to sleep after the party. Turns out he was an idiot and got the wrong room in his drunk state, but it also wasn't G1's organized room. Sue. Made fun of a kid with Down syndrome. Despite being a crappy school, the kid was treated like royalty by everyone. His last name was King, and everyone called him the king. Popular kid thought it would be funny one day to dethrone him by pulling down his trousers. Never seen someone get turned on so quickly. He ended up moving school and the king stayed just that. There was a really pretty girl that was quite popular in my high school. She was a bit snobby to people and sorta rude. I recall one time she threw a textbook at my groin because I was leaning back in my desk and thought it was funny. I guess it kinda was thinking back. She also liked to make fun of the fact that I was Mexican on more than one occasion. Anyways, she gained significant weight our senior year in high school, and I guess a lot of the popular kids decided to disown her for it. I never actually heard anything, but I recall her sitting all alone at lunch one day. Not my best moment, but I walked by her, pointed, and plainly said, "You earned this." Puts on sunglasses as you walk away. The girl disintegrates into thin air. He was chatting up my much younger sister, her 12 him 17, and a few months later someone in the class brought it back up, so he picked a fight with me. I have barely any muscle, but what I found out that day is I have one heck of a right arm. I can make some assumptions about your training. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.